Welcome, my friends, to Proactive is the Way. Today, Tiffany and I are connecting to discuss The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Tiff, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Toya?
Girl, I'm doing very, very well. I had a very busy day already.
Did you? Or
Uh,
was you working all day?
Working all day, yes. Woke up, got my workout in. I almost didn't make it though, because I was really, really tired trying to get my my Friday reflections out, but Reflection Fridays, Friday reflections. And woke up just in the nick of time to get my workout in and then also get to work. And so got to work about from 8 to 4, and now I'm here. I made it.
Okay.
Right?
That's all we got to do. I just like those words. I made it.
I made it, right? Oh my goodness. And I got to cook a little bit. I have been on like this salad craze lately. And I have been like doing a lot of experiment with salads. I already make a whole bunch of salads anyway, but I learned how to make a jam, like but not like your traditional jam where you put sugar and stuff in it, all natural, like eating fruit, which is what I do on my salads anyway.
Mhm.
But I made like this jam with chia seeds.
Oh,
And yes, and to sweeten it a little bit, I use monk fruit, but it is delish. I squirt it with a little lime, and and it helps to enhance the flavor. And so I've been putting that on my salad with my, like mixing it with my cottage cheese. Girl, you want to talk about something that is the truth? It's really good. I was like, okay, I just changed my salad game again. I was doing it just bland, throw some nuts on it, throw some fruit on it.
mhm.
But yeah, I've been doing a whole lot of different experiments.
That actually sounds really good.
It is the bomb. I was about to take a picture and send it to you. Remember, I was telling you, I was like, wait, we start a little bit later because I gotta eat. I was gonna send a picture to you, but I was so hungry, I dug in before I even remembered. I was like, oh well, next time. Next time.
Okay.
And how was your day? You said it was good. Did you get into anything?
I was, just basically, running errands and, trying to close this, renovation that I completed. I'm trying to close it out, but it's like something always comes up. I took Roz to the market today, the fresh fruit and vegetable market out West Third. She wanted to go out there.
Is it
It wasn't any,
Webster? Is it the second?
no, it was called, what was the name of it? Um, it was called, hold on, I'm gonna look it up, my bad. It was called Bayer's Melon Farm Market.
Never
There
heard.
was
Why does she know all these places like this? I'm like,
Well, when you are retired and you can sit around and just like you don't have anything to worry about, and also because she doesn't drive,
so
so
she's on the bus and she just sees certain things, you think?
I don't know if that's her mode of transportation, but
It is
because
her
she
mode. She
is
always
it,
on the bus. Yes.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't know if the would carry her all the way out that because it's I
Oh,
think it's past Drexel. Is it past Drexel? Yeah,
okay. Okay.
excuse
Very,
me.
very.
So I took her there because I was like, she was supportive of me, came to the grand opening. She was like, I want to come, support you. And so then that week I was like, hey, I was like, do you need to go to the grocery store or anything? Because people that support me, I want to support them. I think
Absolutely.
that's super important to,
Absolutely.
give it back. Um, but yeah, so I did that, and then I went over to the renovation and just trying to clear up some
Okay.
things, you know how that goes. And then we had a little bit of like a lunch brunch. Um, we were in the car, and you know how crazy it is on the west side. We went to go get gas at Shell.
What happened?
I guess people come to your car and ask to pump your gas for you, for
Oh, did
money
you
or
pay
whatever.
them?
Because I don't carry cash.
Oh,
But he wasn't the one actually. And then lo and behold, because Emily know everybody in Dayton, it actually was one of her clients. And I was and he and we were she was actually, it was like kind of like an outreach moment. It was like an outreach experience because he was pissy drunk. Um
wow.
and she got the opportunity to, tell him about recovery and, getting, his life together, situated, 34-year-old young African American male who definitely needs help. Nobody has said anything to him, just lets him wander probably aimlessly around the city, drunk as he was. He was so drunk, he sounded like he was having a stroke.
Wow.
But she was able to reach out to him. And then I told him, I was like, if you need medical care, you should come. And maybe, she does the insurance too. So she
Mhm.
could possibly, help him like through the marketplace or something, get health insurance.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, was able to do that. So didn't get everything done. I wanted to do some other stuff, but the days run by so fast.
I'm telling you,
And
girl,
the more you want to do, the faster it goes.
the faster it goes. Isn't that
That's
crazy? No,
what
seriously.
I told her. I said, that is crazy.
But you know what? Not going to knock it because sometimes that's good. That just tells me that you're being busy, you're being productive, and in a productive way, right? Just think about the guy that is going through what he's going through, that he felt he had to lean on alcohol to get him through his day, right?
Hmm. You
And
could tell us some trauma there.
Okay, okay, something.
You could feel the trauma. There's
Okay,
something that happens to him definitely
for sure, for
that
sure.
causes him to lean on the need to forget. Because alcohol make at the end of the day, people can say what they want. Alcohol makes you forget.
Uh,
Whether it's temporary or not, it doesn't matter. And somebody who stays that drunk, oh, they didn't. How many? What are the how many different ways can you say forget, forget it, forgotten?
oh,
Like
you wanted to do all of them.
it's gone.
The past, the present, the future, and the imperfect future.
He ain't even gonna remember us.
Oh,
And
well,
if he does, good for him. But if he doesn't,
hmm right. But and
it's sad.
so that type of instance, even meeting that guy, that really personally makes me think about my own life and, like the situation that I'm in right now, where I really have to have support in order to make my life what it is today. And a lot of it stems on, the fact that we lack the resources that we need in order to
Hmm.
take care of ourselves, in order to just meet our basic necessities. And you know and some people like him leaned on alcohol because he couldn't get the right resources to help him through whatever he wanted to get through. And then you got me, who's trying to lean on every dang on book in the world, and my family and others, to just better understand how to rise above a situation.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, that's a great segue for what we are going to be talking about here today,
Hmm.
because I think personally for me, I shared with you earlier that I just really have a love-hate relationship with money. You and we both grew up with a mom and a dad who thought very, very differently about money, but I see you listen more to daddy. I listen more to mommy, and
Oh, hell no.
it took us on a trajectory that was very different, right?
Which is okay though, right?
Well, you know what I said today? I was like, it's not bad because it brought me here to where I am today, and would I have a story to tell had I not come to this point in my life? Would I've had all these different stories and all these different learning lessons? I don't know. Not to say that you have to go through them, because you don't, but it was a part of my path, to lead me to where I am today, and hopes to learn from it and overcome it. So, as I mentioned, I brought in a couple books to help me better understand just behavior in general as it relates to money and why do we do the things that we do. And it was refreshing to know that I am human. I am human because folks who have money and are sometimes in the same boats as folks who don't have money.
Mhm.
They just there's a different perspective, a different twist, but our behaviors and the way that we think about it, manage it, etc., could be relatively the same. We just have a different scope, a different point of reference, a different upbringing that made us make the choices that we do. And so the psychology of money. So I brought that book in and I was like, let me read this book. And I would tell you right now, I have no idea how I ran into this book. I think I was just looking for resources to help me. Budget was my primary. And I was like, I just need a better way to budget, right? And I saw this and I was like, oh, here we go with the mind thing. Because, I'm all about you got to have your mind right before you even start diving into certain areas like budgeting. Because if you get into budgeting and you haven't taken inventory with regards to how you think about money and the things that you do with money and why and the why behind them, you can do a budget all day. But if those underlying behaviors still exist and you lack awareness and you fall back on those respective behaviors, that budgeting would go out the door, right?
Mhm.
So for me, I was said, let me go ahead and take a look at this. And I read some of the reviews, and of course, it had amazing reviews. And I said, okay, so this is it. Let me take a look at it. So I opened it up, and of course, which is what is very interesting on the first chapter talked about how no one is crazy, and we'll get into that here in a moment. But I just was like, oh yeah, this is the book for me. I like this because it's really going to. I felt like it was going to be a book that was unbiased and give us both points of view without how to putting a shade over it of someone who felt like they were just better and made better decisions, but that someone who actually looked at both sides, right? I just felt like he was just going to be very unbiased and very open and honest with regards to behaviors and why we do and help us to better understand. Uh, so, um, so there was about three different topics that I had honed on. Actually, there's four, and I'm actually speaking about these topics on my socials. I already started, and so for those who have been following me, hopefully you can go and check out Facebook and Instagram, Kinky Knots Cafe. I've been talking a lot about this respective book by Morgan Housel. And and so I had honed in on like there was like 18 overall, 18 topics that he focused on, but I decided to just kind of focus on my top four. And today we'll just discuss about three of them if we have time to discuss all of them. But the first one that I ran into was in chapter one. And in chapter one, he talks about no one is crazy. And within that chapter, he shared that when we talk about money, we have to be mindful that the choices that we make as relates to money, it depends on your frame of reference. And that frame of reference revolves around our life experiences. And one of the sentences or one of the quotes from that book was he said, "What may look wild to you could feel completely rational to someone else."
Mhm.
And that really touched me because I thought to myself, oh, I'm glad somebody looked at that and took that into consideration. And this is to go back to what I was sharing with you earlier about mommy and daddy. right? I was like, wow, we grew up and I was always someone who I had the love of my father, but was always wanting to please my mom, right? Because we didn't grow up with the best relationship. And my mom, right? Our mom, she was very, money is the root to all evil. And, it's going to change who you are. And,
Giving bad info.
yes, really, she really gave bad advice. Now that I'm older, I'm like, that was really bad advice. But, she gave a lot of bad advice.
Remember, Toya, remember you can't take it with you when you go.
Yeah.
My God, I don't want to not be here without any either.
Right. Hello. I'm not trying to be broke till death either. Exactly. Exactly. And then, then we had daddy. Daddy was always like, you better have it. Cause when you broke, everybody broke. Like daddy was about that. You don't you dare rely
You
on
go broke,
everybody.
everybody broke. Don't you loan out no money.
So so we grew up, and I was just like, I was like, okay. And it's real interesting because I did go to school for finance, and I'm not going to say I am bad with money. I just made a couple bad decisions during marriage, that got me a little bit, what, or I shouldn't even say a little bit, but kind of off track. And it's been a trial trying to get back on track because I'm pretty good with money, but I just made a couple bad decisions. Um, but anyway, so we grew up in that type of environment, and I like that when I read about that chapter, and he framed it around the fact that it is through these lenses of our own experiences that really define what our thoughts are about money, right?
Mhm.
So what is your take on that? The fact that do you agree with what he shared, or do you have a different perspective or level of insight?
Mm-mm. I actually agree with his, and you said this was in chapter one.
It was, yeah, his first chapter.
Introduction,
Hmm.
that how our psychology about money, our psyche develops about money, about our financial choices being shaped by beliefs, fears, biases, and life experiences. I
Hmm.
actually do believe that. Now, I don't, for me, I never approached money out of fear, even though I saw how carelessly or cavalierly my mother was with money.
Hmm.
Because back then, our father had a very nice job,
Hmm.
paid weekly, very large sums of money.
Hmm.
So we had access, which could have created like a skewed perspective for us about money. Like, oh, we got it. We gonna hurry up and spend it so we can get it again. Like because I don't know if you remember our allowance. We used to get like $50 on Thursday.
$50
Then
and
he got paid, and then I would do stupid shit like spend it, and then be like, and it was for the next school week.
hmm. Hmm.
And then on Sunday, he would turn around, and because we were on a reward system, right?
Hmm.
We got stuff because we read a book,
Right.
or we did do chores. We
That's
cut the
true.
grass, or I scored 30 in a basketball game. Like it just depended. We were on a reward system when it came with money. So it did kind of develop into like a skewed perspective. Like I feel like I should be rewarded, when I do good things, and
Mhm.
if money is the reward, I should get it.
You actually grew up that way, though. I did not. I grew up with the idea I had to work for it. With the,
Toya, we are only 13 months apart.
no, 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 no. But your daddy raised you on a reward system because that brought fire under your belly to get shit done. or to find success. He knew what would fire you. And for me, I wasn't that way at all. I didn't need money. I didn't, even the allowance that you're referencing, I think I may have gotten it maybe a couple times and it stopped because I wasn't using it.
That's your memory of that?
Yes, I never used it. I didn't use it. I don't even remember it. I remember it a couple times hitting my hands, and then I was like, "Oh, I don't get it anymore." But what I do remember is he would have me cut the grass. I was always someone who went, worked, and
Then
acquired
received.
and
Yeah.
then received. And
Mhm.
that wasn't a reward system from my perspective. That was
Well,
this.
no, that's not.
Right. So that was Toya, you do your chores, you get paid. And then even grade wise, he didn't do that with me either. When you got A's and he would give you money, I was like, man, what's going on here? But I never questioned it. I never questioned it. Didn't be like, I got A's too. Why I don't get money? I really think they had felt like they had to incentivize you in order for you to make moves, in order for you to do
Probably.
right.
And it
Right.
works.
Yeah,
It
and it worked
works.
for you. And even to
It's
this,
actually still working.
yes, that's exactly what I was saying. It's still working because you know that, but now it's a little
But
bit different because you are working for it, right? You still are putting in the work in order to get it, but that work for from your perspective is your, how do I want your drive to get the money that you need or feel like you have to possess. But I was very laid back. I was very laid back.
oh yeah, you were.
Things that they implemented with you, they were able to withdraw from with me because I was
Or
just
they just never had to implement it with you.
never implemented it. They would give it to me initially, but then after a while, I was like, okay. And I wasn't using it. I wasn't doing anything with it. But that goes to show you too, even though we had it, we weren't really even taught what to do with it, right? We didn't have a bank
Mm-mm.
account. We weren't taught to.
Well, we did have a bank account.
I didn't have a bank account. You had a bank account, but we were not taught to invest it. And I remember, and you should know, Tiffany, remember, because I was telling everybody, I was like, and I've said this on this podcast before, when I was thinking about going to school, where did I want to go to school? I wanted to go to school in either California
Oh, or overseas.
overseas, right? And daddy was like, you ain't gonna be making no money doing that. Like he was about really making sure that we selected a career that would bring us a lot of money, where that would be lucrative. And so, I jumped into the world of finance. So I have a really, really good understanding about money. But to the point where I thought to myself, because I was a minimalist growing up, and I'm a minimalist now as an adult. I mean, I can make money very easily and have
That
it.
and of course you can, but that's not what drives you, or that may not be what makes you, there's no challenge it. It might not even be challenging to you.
It really, honest, in terms of acquiring it, no. And it's because my needs have my basic. If you think about, what is it, Maslow's hierarchy
Needs.
needs, I'm that. And I know that's really sad to say, but I'm that individual who's like, yeah, if my basic needs are met, I'm pretty good. I don't feel like I have to have a car. I don't feel like I have to have, unless it's an absolute necessity. When it
Mhm.
becomes a need for me, then, I invest in certain things like that. But I also realize that the things that I like to do, which is travel. I like traveling the world and experiencing different things, and it requires money, right?
Mhm.
It
Yep.
requires money. And so I really got to get my mind wrapped better around this whole notion, because I'm not trying to be working, until I'm 70 years old talking about I want to travel the world. I'm not, I just don't think that I want to see myself there. I really need to change this for myself. And I really think I'm going to get there much sooner than I think, just because of the way I think about money, and the how little of it I need to actually live a good life, right? Yeah, so and so the second one in this book about it was called Tails You Win. Um, and in this chapter, we learned about how um people make decisions based on when they see others and the things that others have been successful on. And what I mean by that is, in that chapter, we learned that big wins, they're very, very rare. They're like hitting the lottery. True wealth comes from staying steady when
Mm.
chaos hits, not chasing flashy outliers.
Oh, I like that.
You like that one? Yeah, that one really hit home to me as well because I said to myself,
Because that's what most people are out there doing.
it's trying
They
to
are chasing the outlier. And it's just like, it doesn't even make sense to me. I've never chased the outlier. I've always stayed the course. I
Mhm,
teach Taryn this.
mhm,
The course.
right.
Stop doing all of this. All of that outlier is a distraction, honey.
That's
It
exactly what it.
outlier equals distraction. They teach you in statistics.
Mhm.
It's not, yeah, it's
Mhm,
easy to, that's an easy concept. That's an easy concept for me, right? Because
mhm.
it's like, wait a minute. It's just like, gosh, what is the same? But anyway, I second that. I third that, I fourth that, I fifth that.
Right.
That is very true.
And that really hits home for when you start to do really big investments, right? Or not even really big, but just get into investing in general. It's interesting how I'm on Instagram, I'm on all the socials, and a lot of my socials, because I look at a lot of information as relates to money and investments and things of that nature. It's interesting how a lot of the recommendations online, they tell you to invest here and invest there and invest here. And I'm thinking to myself, number one, can I see your credentials? I'm like, who are these people telling folks to invest here and there?
Right. But they don't need to, Toya, because just like you're reading the book, the dude that wrote the book, was
Morgan Housel. Hmm.
it really don't even matter about credentials because most people are speaking from experience. Because at the end of the day, let me tell you this, like with me practicing, right? Like
Hmm.
anybody in medical practice,
Hmm.
I could have all these credentials, but at the end of the day, what I have learned from observation and from just doing what I do is a lot of things have come from what I have experienced, including medical conditions that other people have. So, like you have these medical conditions that are disparate in certain groups of people, right? So, let's just use Blacks because I'm Black.
Hmm.
So, we have diabetes, we have high blood pressure, we have autoimmune that seems to be very rampant amongst our amongst our culture or
Hmm.
amongst our people, and because of that, where am I going with this? Because of that, you see, like, God, I keep looking at my train of thought. I wanted to tell you, I wanted to relate that to what you were saying. Go back to what you were saying.
About the fact that, well, trying to understand where you were going with it, but I was sharing with you about people's credentials.
Okay, credentials. So
Yes.
what I was saying is it's more from experience. Like, so when I experience like people coming in, it's always the same story.
Hmm.
The hypertension doesn't change from black person to black person. Hypertension is very bad for black people than any other group of people. So is diabetes, and so is these autoimmunes like lupus, the things that it does to our kidneys, right? Like when you see people, you're like, dang, they are awful sick.
Hmm.
And but you see a person not of color with that same condition, and you're like, they don't seem as sick. As Black folk do with that. And I've learned over time, like, and that's how I have actually learned how to treat it a little different. And my outcomes, my health outcomes for those people are a bit better because I understand something different about it. So but the credentials didn't do that for me.
Hmm. It was the
That
life
makes
experience.
sense.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
and I get where you're going with that, but still, even with you, you're working in a regulated environment, and
Well, true.
you have to
You have
have
to have a license. You have to have
you
credentials.
you have
But yeah,
credentials, and I'm on a social networking site. And so it's different because when you are on a social networking site, you do want to make sure that you are observing these individuals, that you're observing where did they get their understanding, and even
mhm,
is that they learn from life experiences and that they don't have the credential per se. You just want to make sure that these individuals have substance and some sort of understanding before you start following. But where I was going with that was that, I'm on these different sites and they're trying to guide me and lead you on the right path. But
mhm.
you have to be mindful because a lot of these, especially on these social sites, these could be how do I want to say, affiliate.
Programming.
Yes, programming to help a stock move in a certain way. You,
Uh-huh.
you
Absolutely.
need to invest in this, and this. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
so everybody's going to invest in that. And you are influencing that stock by doing that. I really
Right.
believe that we should be doing our own research. Like you
Exactly.
need to get that information, but at the end of the day, don't just follow the masses, is what I was
Correct.
trying to get to.
You should develop your own understanding. It's just like people who like believers who are in the church or in any religion.
Um,
You need to research and develop your own understanding because just because somebody can apply it the way they did, they could have a totally shoot, it could be fraud. They totally could have a different
they could be
understanding.
playing a different game. And
Correct.
that's going to be the topic that I talk about here. I'm not going to talk about it today, but they could be playing a very different game from you.
Correct.
And
I
more
agree.
so he stated that in his book. He said, people they start investing and they really don't even have a solid understanding with regards to why they're investing, but
Uh-huh.
paying attention to a lot of different people doing their investments and making decisions based on others who are playing a very different game than you. And
And
you
it could
have
be
to
very
be,
dangerous.
and it can be very dangerous for you.
Mhm.
I love that. I'm going to be talking about that on Monday, actually. All right. So to get back on topic here, I wanted to make sure that we got around to the last one, and I shared this one on my Meditative Monday as well. Uh, in the book, he talks about how the fact people feel the need to save for a specific goal versus just saving, period.
Mhm.
He indicates in this book, that we don't need a reason to save.
Mhm.
And if you feel like you need a reason to save, perhaps maybe that reason is not about something you want to acquire in terms of an item, a physical item. So, whether it be a trip, a car, etc. It's not about just tangible things. Sometimes saving is about the intangibles. And I fell in love with this chapter. I was like, you are so, so right. And even before I read this book, Tiffany, I started doing this because I agreed with him. I was like, yeah, why are we not just saving to be saving? And I literally was doing this. And I was so excited
Well, that's what
to
people
read.
like Warren Buffett, the really ultra rich do.
Just save. You don't
Mhm.
have to have a reason to save. And some of the intangibles he said that I really fell in love with was um, the benefits like freedom, flexibility, peace of mind.
I think he has had access to Chat GPT for a very long time.
Who?
And
Who?
he wrote the author,
Oh, this.
because I think some people have always
Oh,
had access
oh, yes, yes.
to
Oh,
this.
come on. They've had this Chat GPT. They've had it in business for a very long time.
Years,
For a very
years,
long time. But
way before they deployed and
of
get and gave
course,
it. They
you
should be able
better
to. Those minions should be able to take advantage too of all the knowledge that we stole.
up. You are so
I
stupid.
imagine all of them as like little hobbits and
No,
little
but before you deploy something, you always want to pilot it. Right. I mean,
maybe.
unless you work at my company, we like to build a plane while we flying it.
You should,
Hey,
oh.
can y'all put the engine in? The other one. Because I'm tilting over here. But anyways, but yeah, so I really like that because I thought to myself, yeah, why are we just saving to have things when we really should be saving to have that peace of mind, that ability if we wanted to pivot. Like right now, I'm thinking to myself, it would be so amazing to be able to just travel the world doing what I'm doing right now with you, the
Mhm,
podcasting, right?
mhm,
I think and taking my kids along with me. It was actually one of I remember when Spotify they had this it was like a competition. It wasn't a competition, but like a sweepstakes, and you had to put in your idea. And that was actually my idea. And I was like, God, if I had the money, I would so do it. Right? I would be traveling the world, taking my kids, letting them experience, and we come back on the podcast and we share what we've learned, right, around the world to show how different but the same we are. Um, and so I really like that chapter. That chapter really, really spoke to me.
mhm,
And one of the quotes that I had shared was, it's not a quote, but something that I had shared in our Meditative Monday was that, every dollar in which we have the ability to save, it's like reclaiming a piece of our future back and really being able to put into our own hands, our own life
mhm.
instead of having to rely on someone else and instead of having to depend on someone else. And when you have that money, when you have a savings to be able to dip into um, to um, to reclaim a piece of your future, uh, it's one of the most it's priceless,
Mhm,
something that can never be bought,
mhm.
um, and very, very valuable. So what was your take on it?
So, I was gonna say how money, like you were saying, the very scarce understanding that we have of money and why it's only so why there's such a low percentage of people who have it is because of the way they teach the concept, right?
Well,
Everybody had, huh?
they don't teach it.
Right.
They do
Well,
not.
start there.
So
Yeah,
let's start
it's not
there.
taught. Yeah, let's start
Where
there.
are we taught it in our educational system?
If
Unless.
you appeal to people's creativity, though,
Hmm.
money probably will be better understood. So, for example, imagining money as seeds.
Hmm.
Saving is planting seeds.
Hmm.
Each dollar you set aside is planted in the soil of your future.
Right.
At first it may look small, but see when they start teaching money or not teaching money, or the concept is uh is way too complex using financial jargon, right?
Mm-hmm.
People um become uh what is it called? They disassociate
Hmm.
because the understanding of it is too complex.
Right.
And just think of day trading.
Hmm.
I look at all that shit and I'm like, I can read. I mean, I can really read.
But
I
we. Right.
understand a lot of shit.
Right.
I am I can break it down. I don't
Right.
I am Chat GPT. Okay,
Right.
that's what I feel, right?
Right.
Have you ever looked at a day trading book?
Hmm. Yes.
It's unnecessarily complex.
It is unnecessary.
Like, why can't you just tell me,
Hmm.
get your ass up
Yeah.
at 3 a.m.,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm simplifying this, right? You get your ass up at 3 a.m. because the stock market opened at 6 a.m. and it closes at 9 a.m. That shit is hard to understand even in the book. It don't even seem like it seemed like and for the average person,
Mhm.
right? And I mean, I know, what is our reading level collectively around the US, like sixth or eighth
Fifth,
grade? Like most things are written at a sixth or eighth grade level for most people to understand. Like
fifth.
when you go in a hospital, the literature, when they
Elementary.
give to you, yeah, it can't go past sixth or eighth grade. That's like the
It's not
rules
middle
they give
school.
you
It's
when
fifth
you're
grade.
okay. So anyway, so like I understand, so and so it's just so complex. But let me build on that. So basically, you imagine money as seeds. Each dollar you set aside is planted in the soil of your future. At first it may look small, just a handful of seeds in the dirt, but with time and patience, it sprouts into trees that give shade, fruits, and protection. So your savings grow into an orchard you and your family can always return to when storms come.
Mhm.
Now imagine that shit.
Right.
But
Right.
no,
Everyone.
that ain't what they tell us.
No, no, we're too busy trying to keep up with the Joneses. But there was an era, and he talked about that. There was an era where everyone basically were trying to keep up with the Joneses. And I
Mm-hmm.
think was it 1950s? He said there was a transition within the US in which the the people were going through the process of everyone had to have a refrigerator, had to have an oven, and so they went through this phase. And when I was reading it, I was like, that's no different than today. I said, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like people are still there. They're still kind of stuck in that era where everybody has to have the house. What is it? The fence, the two kids, the dog,
Picket white fence.
white picket fence. Yeah, like literally, that's the
I'm
American.
glad they got over the picket white fence, though. I
Okay,
really
they
am.
got rid of the fence, but they just put an electric one in. I mean, what's the damn difference? We don't see it now, but it's still there. Right? But my thought is we are still where we were back in that time where everyone is trying to keep up with the Joneses. And saving is out the door, right? So I just feel like it's yeah, they do need to simplify the concept. I actually just bought Aja a book because she's in college now, and even before then, we were going through the process of me teaching them about money. I had Go Henry. I had purchased for them to teach them about investing and things of that nature, and trying to do it young because I
Mm-hmm.
think when you start to instill it in them young, the goal is in hopes that they'll make better choices in the future and that they will leverage compounding,
Mm-hmm.
right? In order to leverage time to compound their money and be lucrative in the future. But I just bought her a book. I'm going to share it with you because I was really excited. I found this and she's about to start her sophomore year. And the book is called, and it's for young adults. I'm going to tell you it. Why didn't they teach me this in school?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a book by, let me see if it will pull up here for me. It's a book by, it says 99 Personal Money Management Principles to Live By, Carrie Siegel. And in this book, it just really, stated it's a very good graduation gift to give people. I haven't read it, so I'm not making a recommendation yet, but the description of it really
Yeah,
caught
the title.
yeah,
Yeah.
that title, but then of course the description. where they highlighted, why do high schools and colleges require students to take courses in English, math, and science, yet have absolutely no requirements for students to learn about personal money management? Now, I'll go back and I'll tell you, I
It's
think
deliberate. It's
Aja's
intentional.
ninth grade year, there was a financial management course.
Hmm.
Her
But
ninth
it's
grade,
always elective.
no, it was required. It,
Oh, this was just because she was
this
homeschooled. Okay.
yeah, this was required in her school. And I don't know if that's across the board, if they do that in all of our, educational systems. I'm going to say where we live in the state of Ohio, because generally it's mandated. But it was a required class within her school. And I was really excited that she had to take that course. But, it was one course. Right? One course. And when you when you introduce a concept one time, how likely are you to recall it? Not very likely. You really, especially with children, because it's not going to be interesting to them. You're having them budget. They don't have expenses. They don't have bills. They don't have anything to associate with it. You understand?
Isn't it amazing? You would think they're gonna give you
One. Mhm.
one course,
Right.
but
Right.
we have 3, 4, 5 course meals. So it makes sense. No, but for real, repetition is the key to understanding,
It
right?
is.
So what
Keep
would
it
make
on your
sense
waist.
is finance one, like you got trig 1, 2, 3, or algebra 1 and 2.
Correct.
Why wouldn't you have finance
Personal
one,
finance,
two,
one,
three,
two, three,
four? So
four.
we took one personal finance course in high school as well too. At my school,
Mhm.
I took I took a personal finance course, and of course it actually took a biblical, because we're in the Bible Belt. It attached scripture
Uh,
to every piece of financial concept, and
okay.
the only one I remember was never co-sign for anybody. It's biblical.
I know
You don't
that.
co-sign. And
You
so when
don't
people
co-sign.
say, Ma, can you co-sign? Hell no. I would say, don't co-sign.
That's the one I'm really gonna follow.
Right. That's the one I remember.
Right.
That's the one that empowered me, had the most impact. It screamed the loudest to me. And that's
Right.
the only one I think out of that finance class with Miss Bowman that I
Uh-huh.
remember. And that's on that. I
Right.
swear. But yeah, no, no, you're right.
Yeah, but so as I was reading that chapter, I thought to myself, um, it was so poignant. All his points with regards to saving, making sure that we're being mindful to save, and you brought it up already for when we might have an unexpected event in our life
Mhm.
that can throw us off course.
Mhm.
And in this book that I got, Aja, it really I really hope she'll read it. And matter of fact, I probably am going to get another one, just so I can periodically, while we're eating and chatting downstairs, throw some questions at her, to see if she's reading, and if not, highlight, oh, well, in your book, it talks about this, like casually bring it up. But I think it's so critical that we just really start teaching our kids as early as possible about
I
money
agree.
management.
Otherwise, we're going to stay on the bottom of this totem pole.
Hmm.
We're going to stay at the very bottom. We're
Right.
if we don't get a grasp on or we don't increase our financial literacy.
Correct.
I
Correct.
do believe that. I think that is a because I still got a lot of learning to do. Tons
Right.
of it. Tons of it.
Well, and even, because I think also you had talked about scripture and the fact that you learning financial management, but you went, you went, you had
Miss
went,
Bowman was enough. That
I
was
just look her up. But you went there, and they leverage the Bible, but right as you mentioned, we live in the Bible Belt, and mommy, of course, educated us or me extensively. It really touched me with regards to her thoughts about money and things of that nature. I just really think that the Bible is, yes, basic instructions before leaving Earth. It's definitely a good tool. But we also have to be cognizant with regards to, because she used to say money is the root to all evil, which it is. I believe it is biblically written in, oh gosh, I don't remember which. I do recall reading that. And I had a friend tell me, he said, yeah, you may think it's the root to all evil, but it's a means to the end, right?
Mhm.
And essentially what I took from that, it's a means to the end, is that you better have it.
You better get you some.
You better have it
I'm
because
not saying get you some illegally or
legally, right, but you have to have it in order to meet your basic necessities in life. And then also for when things don't go as planned, that you have a backup plan,
Mhm.
right?
Have
And
some padding. You have you could think of it as like armor, like body armor.
mhm, true. And it's funny you said that because I said to myself, this situation that I'm in, I was like, gosh, I don't feel like I need a lot of money to live, but it would have protected me.
Because
And
the thicker the
because
armor, the safer you
it
are.
is, it provides
It
a
does it
safety.
doesn't stop the arrows from coming, but it prevents them from piercing too deep. For example, all these fucking contractors I deal with and all this fucking sabotage I deal with from these people who want to try to price gouge you and change the prices and change what they say
Mhm.
and try to for whatever their motive is. I
Right,
don't care what their motive is. It's not the motive. It's the fact, and it's the fact that it's sabotage, price gouging, and you have to be ready for the possibility of that.
right.
But
Yes.
if you don't have the armor on,
To be able
then
to or
you
go a different direction and say, you know what? All right,
it could end you.
yes,
You could be
it can
like, you know
ruin
what?
you.
I know several people I went to school with, maybe two at Hampton. One, but I don't really know why he died, but I could imagine why he committed suicide. Like things get rough. You'd be
Mhm.
like, I don't want to be an embarrassment to my family. I think I better check out on this one. Like it was just too rough. And that's where, not having enough money could take you.
Mm.
Like not being able to take care of,
Well, he said that in the early, what was it, when they had the depression, the
mhm.
first depression,
People was
and
just
how
offing themselves.
they were offing themselves.
Mhm.
And it was,
I think it
because
was higher among white males.
it was during that time. Absolutely. Well, they were the ones investing in the stock market, losing all their money and
Mhm.
but yes, people will do some detrimental things to themselves because they didn't plan to save. And what is that saying? If you
If
don't,
you don't plan, if you don't plan,
it's
if
not
you don't plan, plan to fail.
as plan to fail. And that's the same thing with saving, right?
Because
Yeah,
saving is buying time.
it really
I
is.
like this concept. Every dollar saved isn't just money, it's time. It's the
Yes.
choice to work fewer hours, take a break when life demands it, or retire early.
Yes.
Saving stretches the clock, giving you control over your most precious resource, your time. And I say that all the time too.
Mhm.
Like, it's the time for me.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think that's the beauty about being in nursing, though, too. Like, because I used to count my shifts.
Mm.
You're like, what bill do I have? Oh, this one only $60. I'm working
Oh, I only
one
need to work
shift this
one
week.
shift for that.
Right.
That's funny. That is really funny. Well, and for me, I try not to have any bills. Um,
Right.
I truly live a minimalist life.
I
I
want to
live
get back
so,
to that.
girl, you have never, but that's okay though. You learn.
But not had as many bills as I got right now. I've never
No,
had this
no.
many bills.
Well, now you make, you have investments and things of that nature. Absolutely, you're going to have that. But I'm just saying you enjoy the fine things of life. And I'm just saying, is that something that ever was you? Was that
What
ever you?
minimal
Minimalist? I'm sorry.
minimalism?
It doesn't exist in Tiffany's repertoire. Rep-
I can get there though. I can get there.
You could get there? Okay, okay. Well, I'm already there. I've always been there, but I do want, like, I look at some of the things, like I would like to just be able to get up and travel, right? I would like to just be able to get up and I still don't I feel I still don't need a car. I do not need a car. I don't even understand why I would have one. But, when it comes, because wherever I want to go, we got to fly anyway. And I'll get a car when I get there.
Right.
Right. I'll put that in my budget. But that really is the only thing that I really think about. And of course, the kids, if there's needs, and we go through that all the time. I'm like, okay, kiddos, what do you need? What do you need? Like May came to me the other day and she was like, do you really need to ask the question? And she had these super duper short shorts on and they were, her legs. You need shorts. Okay, gotcha. Think she's looked for any of them? No, she has not, but that's okay. I gotta go shopping for her. But so we really in my house understand the difference between a need and a want. We're not just buying arbitrarily and having stuff everywhere. Mm-mm. There has to be a reason. Has to be a reason. I can't do it. I cannot do it. It's weird. I cannot. Every time I get ready to want to do it, I'm like, I'm just going to Tiffany's closet and I'm going to shop in her garage. Yeah, I'm not doing it. If I want to wear something different and then I can put
No,
it.
Toya, I looked at my stuff and I thought to myself how overwhelming it was to have all that stuff. I was like, this is unnecessary. This is mental illness to have this much stuff. You
With
can't
the tag stealing, y'all want to go shopping? You need to borrow something? Just call Tiffany. Let me
I
tell
should be shamed though.
you.
That is shameful. But see, the first part of fixing a problem is recognizing you have one. I quit buying all that shit. Oh,
Oh,
I used to, girl, I would see something and be like, that would look good on. Bloop. There the next day. Never makes it out of the bag. Never makes it onto the body. What are you really doing? Like, what did that satisfy? Like, I ask myself, like, I'm really reflective like that. I do. Like, what did you do that for?
you
Because I
know,
don't
you
believe in
know.
returning stuff.
Oh, really? Oh.
I don't believe in like taking stuff back to the store. I want to repurpose it some sort of kind. Who could I get this to? Like, and so most of it has ended up on my kid's body.
Oh my God. I was like, if I got Tiffany and around, I don't need nobody else because I'm going to your closet. Oh my goodness, for sure. But all
Okay,
right,
I know what to leave you on my wheel.
a girl, that's it. That's it. And you don't even really need to leave it because I ain't gonna go in it often. I'm just go in and pick it up, then put it
Ain't
back.
gonna go nowhere.
I don't know. It's only gonna be for trips, and I'll bring them right back. Join us in 2 weeks as we transition into taking some practical steps to make positive money management moves as I introduce to you our next book, The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey, a proven plan for financial peace. To prepare for our conversation, make sure to pick up a copy of our featured book. Details are in the description. For access to replays and to learn more about Kinky Knots Cafe's Proactive is the Way, please visit www.kinkyknotscafe.com. Stay proactive, my friends. Take good care.